Hello, hello. Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. Good morning, friends. All right, that's working. Make sure I am in frame here. I have very little room left on my craft table. There's so much stuff out right now. I'm trying to finish Easter cards to send to my family. I do have some family that's out of town, and I know the way that the mail has been going, it takes a little longer for them to get things, so I wanted to get those in the mail today. And two of my brother's birthdays, the twins, their birthday is Saturday, so I need to get their Easter cards and their birthday cards sent out. A little messy here. Okay. Set that aside now that I can see we are working. We'll probably fall over about 3 times. Hope everybody had a good weekend. This is my favorite time of the year. This is Holy Week, and I love Easter. I just, I don't know. It's spring, and everything is new and growing again, and I don't know. I love it. This is a very pretty time. Not to mention, the spiritual part. What is that about? Okay. Make sure I can see if anybody joins. We have 2 minutes here until 10, and I don't like to jump into anything early, and if somebody is joining live, have them miss out. So I will tell you that the set that we're going to use today, Timeless Tulips, and it has a builder punch, comes as a bundle and is on the last chance items right now as the bundle. And since it's a bundle, of course, you're saving 10%. These items are going to be available again in the new catalog, but not as a bundle. So if you like this set and you thought about getting it, and you maybe want to save a little bit of money, I would jump on that now instead of waiting until our new catalog comes out in May. So today's card, I'm actually going to case a card from, this is from Cheryl Scheckler, County Line Stampin'. And for those of you who aren't familiar, casing is to copy and share everything. And I knew I wanted to use Timeless Tulips this morning, and from the looks of my stamps, I must have used this a million times because they are just so stained. But I don't really remember a lot of the cards that I made with it. So I did find a cute one from her, and it inspired my card today. And I say inspired because my cards aren't exactly like hers, of course. And one thing that she did different was to add a little sentiment strip on the front of the card that flaps over the front, and I did not do that. I thought maybe on one of the cards that we're going to demo now, we can try that technique and see how it works. So we are on time now. We can get started. Again, I'm going to use Timeless Tulips with the builder punch. This cuts out the leaf and the tulip. And on the back of our punches, they unlock when you're going to use them. And then if you close them up and push the lock, they stand upright for easy storage. So you can get a lot of punches and not worry about running out of too much room, but they are heavy. I'll tell you that. I've dropped a couple of them and they're heavy. What else was I going to mention? So this will be my last Easter cards, and we're going to start Mother's Day cards. So I'm going to make one of each today with Timeless Tulips. I'm not sure. I do 15-minute cards on a Friday. I don't know if I'm going to do them this Friday. We'll see what happens, because I do have some things to get ready for Easter, and we have a church service on Friday, so we'll see. I don't know if I can get it squeezed in there or not. And I pulled out, for my embellishments, I pulled out just about, I've been using these on my Easter cards, every enamel dot and heart and shape that I had left over. I always put my little leftovers in a zipper bag here. And I love enamel dots. Anyone who has watched Boho Stamper before knows that enamel dots are my favorite. So I did pull those all out. Guess I should have introduced myself too, in case anybody is new. I'm Diane, so welcome. And if you're watching on the replay, glad to have you. I appreciate the time you spend with me, so thank you. Okay, I guess we'll start with the Easter card. And so for this card, and remember, you can make these cards with any stamp set that you have, any pattern paper that you have that coordinates with it, and any greetings. If you want to do this card and make it into a birthday card, just swap out your greetings and make a birthday card. So I'm going to use some Calypso Coral cardstock, and this is a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. I have cut in half and then scored in half again. So we have our standard 4¼ by 5.5 inch card base. But on the front of the card, I'm now going to cut 1¼ inches off of that. I'm just going to set that aside because I may use it. And I took some designer series paper that had some Blushing Bride plaid, some gingham plaid here, and this is what we're going to use on this side. Now for Cheryl's card, which she had done, and before I put this together, I'll show you, because I was actually going to do it on the next card. Her inside piece is a full sheet of an insert, and she made a small border here on the end, and then added her designer paper, and then added this flap on the underneath side with her white sentiment panel on the front, so we could close it up. I can most certainly do that, but it will look different than the card that I originally showed you. So I think what I'm going to do is do that on the next card, on the Mother's Day card. So when I did this, I made my insert a little bit smaller. I made my white panel for the inside at 5¼ by 2 7/8. So 5¼ that, and then I cut this down to 2 7/8. And this was my inside piece, and I could add my design paper on the end. Our front panel is 2 7/8 by 5 3/8. And this is where we're going to add our tulips. I'm using Old Olive. Let me get my scrap paper to put under here, because we're going to stamp off of the cardstock. Move that so I don't get ink all over it. I hope this doesn't make my camera go wonky. Alright, using our old olive. And I'm going to stamp my stem. This is the larger of the stems in the set. So this is going to be the one in the middle of the card. And I'm going to leave a little room at the top there for my tulip. And I'm going to use the smaller of the two stems in the set. And I want to line this one up a little lower than our main tulip. And then the nice thing about this being photopolymer is that I can bend this a little bit. I also don't even have any plain blocks yet left. I'm pulling blocks out from paper pumpkin kits and everything else. I have so many stamps that's out. And then I'm going to add this one facing a little bit to the left. Okay. We have, let's see, this is the longer, narrower leaf. I'm going to add, and that's fine that it goes off of the end of the paper. And so here is our base waiting for some flowers. Now we're going to do a technique that I don't think I've done on any of my lives before. I'm going to use a couple of colors that go together pretty. I'm going to use Blushing Bride and Calypso Coral. Now I'm going to put my smaller tulip here on the left. There's a medium-sized tulip I'll put here, and then we're going to make a dimensional tulip for our focal flower. So I'm going to use the Blushing Bride first. And I also have a small sponge dauber here. I'm going to ink my stamp in the Blushing Bride, use my sponge dauber in the darker color, and then just tap this in some areas around the base of the tulip. And this is the one that we're going to stamp off onto the left-hand side of the panel. So you can't really see the effect on this little one so much. My medium tulip into the Blushing Bride. Use my dauber and add a little bit of Calypso Coral. And this is the one that we're going to add on the right side. And you can see the effect now of the darker color giving a little bit of depth to the flower. And I need a piece of scrap white. I'm going to put all those scraps now. again. I want to remember which side to stamp this on too, so that I don't really waste paper with my punch, because I can get the other tulip out of here if I do it the right way. So I'm going to on this side of my get these inks out of the way so that we don't make a mess. And now I can take my builder punch and line the tulip inside my punch, and you can put a little bit of pressure, squeeze the punch just a little bit to hold your paper in place, and when you have it where you want it, you can punch your tulip out. And add a couple dimensionals to the back of this little flower. I tried to find a ribbon that I liked to coordinate with the coral, and I don't know that I have anything. I really didn't like anything I saw in my ribbon stash there. Let me see. Excuse me. Now we're going to take the larger leaf stamp. I do have one of these cut out, but I will show you. Oh, I'm sorry, not the larger, the skinnier one, the curvy one. The curvy leaf. I think I'm going to do 2 of these. I don't know if I want to put 2 on the card. I only have 1 on the other ones, but let's see how this looks if I need to make it look a little fuller on the front. And again, taking my builder punch, line that up, stamp out my leaf, and another trick is, if I try to put this in here now to stamp my leaf out, I don't really have enough room to hold my finger, so I'm going to take a little post-it note and add it to the end of my paper to hold on to, and I can punch my image. Make sure to get my paper out of there now. I'm going to close my punch up because I should have enough leaves ready now. And I'll bring back my stamped base. And where my miniature dots go here. I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals on the back of this leaf. And 2 there. Add that to my so this card was absolute proof that you can make a card in 15 minutes if you have your dimensions, because I didn't have these ready this morning. And my son had asked me to pick him up and drop him off to have some work done in his car. Well, pick him up at the garage and then take him to work. So I knew I was going to be a little more rushed than if I would have done what I was supposed to and had these ready yesterday. So you can add another leaf, like I said, I don't know, and you can turn them upside down so that you have leaves going both ways. I don't know if I want to do that. Then we need our greeting for the front of our card. And this was my Easter card. And so I just took one of those strips from the white that I had trimmed off. And, excuse me, out of our stamp set, we have Happy Easter, Happy Spring, Happy, Happy Everything. Yay, happy, happy. And so in the Calypso Coral, then I used my stitched rectangle dies, which will also be available. Thank goodness. This is a very basic set of dies that are wonderful because there's so many sizes. And it's this one I used. It is. So I look a little high. I'm not right on top of it, so it looks distorted a little bit. Nope, don't you dare move when I go to do this. Bring out our baby boss, which is the mini cut and emboss machine. I call him baby. Down beside me for the next card, and that's what makes that cut and emboss machine so handy. It is right there beside you as soon as you need it. Might be the end of that blue tape. Yeah, so I got back from dropping him off at work and grabbed a coffee and came up here and started putting these cards together. And was getting all my alerts that it was almost time for my live and to be prepared. And okay, we can do this. And I did. I got them both done in time to show you. So you can do cards. And please excuse my tape here. My other Stampin' Up! Order with my refills is not here yet, so I'm still using my tape runner that I got on Amazon. So I'm lining my pattern paper up to give a little border. I'm going to add this last because I do want to show you something. We'll put our front panel on. I think I'll use a little liquid glue on this one. This is just Tombow multi-purpose glue. It does not take a lot. It's nice because it gives you just a little bit of wiggle room to move your card around or your paper around if you don't get it lined up perfect on the first try. So you can move it a bit if you need to. I think this one I'm going to have overlapping a little bit onto my pattern paper. So when I go to add my dimensionals, I want to make sure that I don't add them the whole way across the back. I think I hear a kitty coming up here. When I first started doing videos, and I had already named my webpage Boho Stamper and started learning how to do videos. Penny would come up here with me. Well, she does still sometimes come up here when I'm crafting. And I started to think I should have called it Penny's Playroom, but that might have not sounded too good either. Because this was like her room, and she would get mad if I would get into anything up here. Okay, and then we have our inside panel, and that's the one that I cut 5 1/4 by 2 7/8. I will add dimensions of all the papers in the comments once I have my video finished. And because Timeless Tulips, I've already used my Easter greeting for the front, and I didn't want to put just hello there. I used my Welcome Easter set again and pulled out the stamp that says Have a Wonderful Easter. And using Calypso Coral again. This is a pretty color. Trying to get it straight. Not so bad. Not so bad. That back away in this stamp set so I don't lose it. And now when I go to adhere this panel to the inside of the card, I want to make sure not to butt it right up against the pattern paper, because then when you close this, you're going to see that little strip of white. And that's only because I had changed the dimensions from the original design. So keep it a little bit closer to the left, and you'll have a border around your inside greeting or your inside message and around your pattern paper. Okay, and then when you close the front, you don't see it. All right, and about the only thing I found, I guess there's some lighter ones here. These light ones. Those are hearts, those are left over from the Valentine's. I think that was a paper pumpkin kit. I think I'm just going to stick with these orange because they matched pretty well. I don't know if they were Calypso Coral or not, but it worked for what I needed. Where is my little cookie tool? Please. I'm going to have to use 2 of the larger dots and 1 smaller one because I'm starting to run out of these. I don't know for sure. I can pay attention as demonstrators. We got our first peek at the new catalog because we'll be able to pre-order here in April, so that we can get some of the new products to show you. And then I just added 1 extra one off to the side in the pattern paper, just to bring it all together. But anyways, looking through the new catalog, I didn't pay attention too much to the embellishments to see what color of enamel dots I'm going to be able to get. I'll have to go back and look at that. I was too wrapped up in which stamp sets I'm going to get first. And there's a couple surprising products coming out in May. You guys are going to love them. Okay, so here's our Happy Easter Tulip card. Pretty happy with that. I think that this little strip on the side really makes a difference with that pattern paper. So Cheryl's design is adorable. And the second one I did was using Blackberry Bliss and Rich Razzleberry. And that was coordinating colors from this polka dotted paper, this little dotted Swiss paper. That was from, I think this was from our Poppies suite. So if you have any of the poppy paper, you can pick out some pretty colors out of that. Okay, so if we're going to, I think I want to do this first, and then we can do the tulips. So Cheryl's instructions were, maybe I should have stamped my sentiment on that white strip first, but I didn't. I don't know if Mother's Day will fit. So she took a piece of 1 inch by 5 inch of her color paper, color cardstock, and then a piece of Whisper White that was 3/4 by 4 and 3/4. And I already had put one together because I wanted to see just how this is going to work. And the only thing I have doubts about is the thickness of the paper that we're going to try to glue behind that Whisper White. And that was the one reason I didn't do it that way. But we're going to try it. So here's my Blackberry Bliss card base. Again, we have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. Set that aside for a moment. And my, oh no, this is the outside one. So I need my Happy Mother's Day here. Boy, is that block dirty. I can't even see what I have on there. Oh, because I have glue on that. I was using an old stamp set that didn't stick very well. And so I did my, yeah, that'll fit. I did my little trick of putting some Tombow on the back of it and let it dry and made it a bit sticky that way. I'm using Blackberry, no, I'm using Rich Razzleberry. That's Rich Razzleberry on the background. That's right, because I'm using Blackberry as my tulip shading. So this is Rich Razzleberry. I completely lied to you. And I'm glad I did put it together and folded it because now I want to know where my center is. Although if we did put it to one side or the other, we could always add rhinestones or dots or something to fill that in. Okay, so this is our 3/4 inch strip of white on the 1 inch strip of Rich Razzleberry. Okay. So then my inside panel is 5 1/4 by 4. This is more like our normal card insert that we would make. And then we have our little strip here of the designer paper. And that was 1 inch by 5 1/4. Now I think in her, I don't know if I have her picture, she left a little bit of white on the end of her, so I think we're going to do that also. I'm going to leave a little border there. Let the top and the bottom match up. Okay. And I need to cut my strip off of here. let's take 1 1/4 inch off of the front of our 1 1/4 off of our raspberry card base. Am I done with that? I think I am. So this will be on the inside, like so. And then this is going to go across our front, like this. And our tulips, we're going to stamp on there. I scored that and my white still cracked a little bit. Maybe because I had a strip of the thick basic white instead of just our plain hard stuff. Okay, so let's do tulips. Using the old olive. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did with our last one. Make one focal point tulip in the middle. And this one is still bent a little bit to the left, so that side. You know, are these the same size? And I'm just thinking in my head one is smaller than the other. And then I'm gonna bend that stamp a little to the right and make another tulip stem. Be careful, I just threw my cleaning sponge on my card over there. Okay, now I can do the tall thin leaves while we have the old olive out. Ooh, I have that one a little off to the... That's okay because, oh, this one has the band. Mine I put ribbon around. So I may not be able to put that ribbon on here. I got that leaf pretty crooked, didn't I? It's a good thing I am going to band on it. Done with that for the moment because we have leaves already cut out. So I think old olive can get set aside. Now we need our medium, large, and small tulips. And we're going to use rich raspberry for the initial stamp. And some blackberry bliss, that's where that color comes in now, for our shadowing. So start with our small tulip off here to the left. I'm just going to ink in the raspberry. And the same thing now with the medium-sized tulip and the blackberry. If you're going to do more than one of these, if I was going to use the medium tulip again, you definitely want to clean your stamp off before you put it back into your original ink. Because we're using a light and a dark, you will get the darker ink into your stamp pad and just be sorry about it later. So this is one time where it's rather important to clean your stamp when you're finished with it, so you don't end up putting it back into a wrong color. Okay, and my scrap of white, where did that go? And I know that the raspberry and blackberry is a little bit of a darker color for our card, but I wanted to really highlight the sponging technique here and use colors where you might be able to see that. Like our first card, you couldn't really tell so much. This one, it's going to be much more prominent. So any colors that you have that would go together, like a Daffodil Delight with Mango Melody would be pretty if you wanted to do yellows. I originally was going to use Flirty Flamingo and Calypso Coral. I don't know why I went with Blushing Bride, but it turned out pretty anyway. And what other colors? It'd be pretty with, I think the Flirty Flamingo would be pretty also with, maybe like Mary Merlot. I'm not going to be able to fold that again. Oh, the purples. Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape, of course. This corner's in my way. I can't get that into my punch the right way. That might be part of my problem. There we go. Okay, line it up a little bit. Put some gentle pressure onto your punch and hold it until you have it where you want it. And ta-da. We can bring our front panel back. Add some foam dimensionals to the back of your tulip. Get that one a little close to the edge. Be able to see it. And then I have those extra leaves. Let's see how we want to do that as we put it together here. Get our card all lined up. I should have used mini. There's my mini dots again. Yeah, that was kind of pretty too. That's another thing that you can do is glue the base of your leaf flat on the card and then just add a dimensional to the top part. And again, why not, right? Did I take that? Didn't take the release paper off the back. That's why it's not sticking. Silly girl. Silly, silly girl. Maybe I will add this one. This time I'll take the release paper off before I put it on the card. How's that? See if that makes a difference, and it does. And a little bit of glue there on the bottom of the leaf again. sorry, I got a little out of frame there on you. I apologize. Okay. Let's put that band on here. Well, let's adhere our front panel. I don't know if I have any blackberry dots or anything to add to the front of this card. Oh, look. And I do like to open my card up when I'm putting a front panel on, just so I can see how even or uneven I might be. Now we need to just figure out how far up if I put it down a little lower, I can hide where I messed up my leaves. So about there will work. Now we can add our inside panel. I don't think I stamped my message yet. Great, get that. Centered there. And I was going to stamp, and if I get this, what a beautiful difference one single life makes. I wish I'd have done it before I put it on my card, but hold our breath. Say a prayer. It's made with love, so even if it's a little crooked, we'll be fine. So now when we close our card up this way, so it's not really a fun fold, but it does add a little interest to our card. Very cute. Get this sword so that it helps it stay shut. And I guess I would recommend, though, if you're going to do that, to use just your plain basic white or whisper white and not the heavy, so that you don't get a crack there like I did. Let's see. What is that? Is that really blackberry blister? Oh, it's almost stars. Well, that looks like more of a Mary Merlot anyway. I don't know that I have any purples that are going to match this. Two. I just had two on this one. And so there we are. Very pretty. Thank you, Cheryl, again for this inspiration. It was a nice way to use this stamp set. This stamp set to me has a little extra special meaning. I went to my first on stage when this set came out, and this was the stamp set that I won there. So it really was a very pretty set to start my on-stage gatherings with. My first card that I did with the bow, I used the Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon. Gorgeous stuff. And I don't know if I want to, I'll have to check and see if this is going to still be available. And if not, I might just have to order some more because that's a pretty one. That's a keeper. As a matter of fact, I just shared a couple samples of that with some of my customers when they ordered this month, so that they can see how pretty it is too. So here's our Mother's Day cards, two variations, one with a front flap and one that I die cut using our, oh, and those are going to be available still also, so thank goodness. These are the Stitch So Sweetly dies, very, very cute dies. And where did the Easter cards go? There we are. Easter cards. So I hope you enjoyed today's little workshop here with Timeless Tulips. And if you need to take a peek at that last chance list and look for the Tulips and the Punch Builder combo, that is still available if you go to my Stampin' Up shopping page, and the list will be there for you. I probably won't get to visit with many of you before next Monday, so have a blessed Easter. Enjoy the time with your friends and family that you can, and I hope that you get to see more of them this year than we did last year. But have a beautiful week and a lovely Easter. Thank you all for being with me. Bye.